Hey, what's up? I'm Casey and this is CaseyReacts. Today we're going to be looking at the subreddit Petty Revenge. This sub is dedicated to getting revenge on those who have wronged us out of sheer spite. Everything is legal, but it is petty as hell. Let's get down to it. Don't share my Netflix account unless you enjoy painstakingly translating Korean. My ex and I had been together for 7 years, long enough for several components of our lives to be shared, including a Netflix account. The relationship ended after he had met another woman back home. We were living overseas at the time and moved out to be with her. To not be petty and appear bitter or scorned, I didn't rush to lock him out of any of our shared accounts. We were in completely different time zones, so I didn't realize until I was on vacation in the same continent around a year later and received the multi-screen pop-up you get when someone else is using your account at the same time that he was still using my Netflix account. I had incorrectly assumed that he would opt to not mooch off of me and open a new one. Rather than change the password, I seized the chance to be petty. I changed the settings for his profile so that he could only view shows for children under 5 and updated the language settings to Korean. Honestly, it's one of my finest moments to date. Now, while this is a good idea and everything, I have to say if he knows your password, it's probably best not to do this because then he can get into the parent account and change everything and then change the password on you. However, he would only want to do this if he was also wanting to be petty. So, all in all, it's always best to just change the password. Can't stop stealing my food? Enjoy some dog food. Long-time lurker, first-time poster. On my phone, English is my first language. Sophomore housing at my university consisted of 7 students in a tiny 3-bedroom dormitory with a small common space, kitchenette, and a single bathroom. At the end of freshman year, I managed to organize a pretty decent group of guys to live with. But due to several summer dropouts, we ended up getting several transfer students. Things were sometimes tense, but the original guys usually managed to keep the peace. The biggest ongoing challenge was theft of food. Our private snacks and instant meals were constantly disappearing. Every few weeks we would take turns asking the newer students to not eat our food, but it kept disappearing. If you've never had this happen before, I gotta say it's one of the most infuriating things ever. I've had many things get stolen from where I live and it's just never fun. Cue the petty revenge. I sometimes volunteered at a pet store that sold dog treats that looked like Oreos. I started buying 2 or 3 at a time and leaving them in the kitchen cabinet. Every time they disappeared, I'd replace them, always leaving them in the original clear plastic wrapping with pink dog stickers on it. After a few months, I asked a roommate if he had seen any of the cookies in the cabinet. He said, "Yeah, they tasted like crap." And I replied, "That's because they were dog food. Quit stealing our food." Problem solved. I've honestly thought about doing something like this. I've thought about baking a cake and putting Miralax in there, just loading it up. But I'm like 90% sure that's illegal because it's intentional poisoning. So maybe not the best idea to do. Great in theory, not great in practice. You think I'm ugly? Well, let me show you the mirror. I, 16 female, have a cousin, also 16 female, whom I just met a couple of years ago. She and her mom are the biggest narcissists I have ever met. Her mother, when she was young, used to make fun of my mother, constantly berating her physical appearance. So before the meeting, her mom actually warned me about their behavior. Bless her. Well, this girl on the very first day made a rude comment about my nose being too big, my eyes being too small, etc. Now, I know I'm above the average, but these kinds of comments did make me insecure a little. She acted as if she were the Lady Diana herself. Like, once she asked me to cover the mirrors in my house when she comes over because after seeing her, the mirror's standards would be too high, and the next time it sees me, it'll shatter. Teenage girls are pretty ruthless. There's a reason that I ended up dropping out of the 7th grade and opted to go back into homeschooling. The last straw was when she looked at my baby brother and she said that he is the reason she doesn't want kids because what if her kids turned out just as ugly as him? Her mom kind of laughed awkwardly and told her that he looked exactly like me when I was young. The girls went, "Ew," directly at my face. That's it. That was it. My uncle asked for our childhood photos so that we could see if she was any cuter than me. I was willing to show mine, but she was kind of hesitant. She said she didn't have any. She doesn't want to show them? Okay, I know what I'm going to do now. I spent the whole weekend searching for her and my pictures and put them all in a photo album. When the next time we had a family gathering, I asked for everyone's attention and asked them to look at our old photos. Everyone was enthusiastic. I handed them the album, and on the very first page, there was a picture of me, a cute little teddy bear, and her, a crooked-teethed monkey who looked like it had been marinating in car oil for 3 years straight. Initially, she was like, "Ew, that baby's ugly." But when she realized that it was actually her, she was extremely embarrassed. Then she accused me of editing my pictures to look good and hers to look like that. Before I even had to say anything, my uncle went, "Cousin, there's no way she could edit these printed pictures from the 2010s. I don't understand. You look exactly like that." They all started laughing, and I finally got my revenge. She and I don't talk anymore, and I hope it stays that way. Just a little sidebar here. I'm only 24 years old, but seeing baby pictures in the 2010s, this makes me feel really old. Scam callers get lots of calls back. I just opened a small business. My utility company is PSEG. I set up autopay so I wouldn't forget and not be able to open due to missed calls. Scam callers tell me someone is coming to shut off my power in 20 minutes because I missed the security deposit. I called PSEG directly on my husband's phone and they said it's clearly a scam. Now it's time for some fun. I give them a fake card number, tell them I'm not sure why it was not going through. I put them on hold when customers come in, waste as much of their time as I can. I called back 5 times until they blocked me. So of course I asked all my friends when they're bored to call them also. The best way to deal with scam callers that I found as a kid? Give them to a child. I gave it to my 6-year-old sister, and she was very chatty. She just wanted to talk and talk. Eventually she got bored, handed the phone back to me. The scam caller was pissed, by the way. And I said, "Oh wait, hold on, my dog wants to talk to you." Put it on my dog's ear, who was sleeping on the ground. So they listened to snoring for about, I'd say, a minute or two before the dog woke up and walked away. I picked up the phone and said, "Don't call back." And that was it. They never called me back. It's the only way you can deal with scammers. Halo 3 memories. My god, I have so many memories about Halo 3. Playing your friends and taking them out with a grav hammer was literally the best thing you could possibly do, and it made everybody hate everyone whenever you get an energy sword in there too. I don't remember exactly when this took place, but it was definitely before Halo Reach debuted, so Halo 3 multiplayer was still at its height. I would play every day after school and every weekend since it was the only game I had, so I was pretty good for a 13-year-old at the time. I loaded up a match of Big Team Slayer on Sandtrap. I always enjoyed getting the Banshee immediately after spawning in, but someone beat me to it, so I figured I'd get to the next one. No big deal. My teammate quickly took out the enemy Banshee, so I played center of the map waiting for it to respawn. It came back up, so I ran quick, only to have it blown up right in my face. I looked around expecting to fight, but it's the same teammate in the Scorpion that blew it up. I got onto him expecting an apology, but his response was, "If I gave the Banshee to some crap squeaker, you'd just get it stolen, and I wouldn't get a perfection medal." You see, you gotta hate players like this. They don't really care about just enjoying the game and having fun. I can't play with people like that. No apology, no medal. He was 9-0 when it happened, so he was right about probably getting a perfection medal, and that was where well I was a squeaker. But I was 7-1, so calling me crap was all it took to make me upset. I spent some time trying to damage his Scorpion, but he would just drive away. One time he even blew me up, which was perfect. I managed to grab another Banshee and proceeded to shoot his Scorpion with light guns over and over. You can see someone's shield break, and that would be my cue to circle around again. I did this 4 or 5 times, not killing him, but definitely damaging his Scorpion and making him upset. He was 13-0 at this point and cussing me out over voice chat. I wasn't responding at all, just proceeding with the plan. Eventually, he had had enough and blew me up, Banshee and all, but that's exactly what I was waiting for. That was the second time he team killed me in the same match, so I got to kick him. 2 kills shy of his medal. I'm sure he got it another match, but I doubt he called his teammates crap when he was trying again. Yeah, during my Halo 3 days, I would not have been this clever, but at the same time, I also only ever played with friends on split screen because that was the best way to do it. It's toxic if you go online. Gaming is still toxic if you go online. You want to wait right there? Fine with me. So I work at a restaurant that specializes in cheesecake. Okay. I'm not a genius, but I'm gonna guess they're talking about McDonald's. Wait, never mind, I just looked it up. They're probably talking about the Cheesecake Factory. Yes, that one. Oh, at least they're confirming it. So normally, I work at the curbside to-go positions. I'll either be bagging orders or running them out to the cars. One afternoon, this lady pulls into the curbside parking that we have out front, and I run outside to get her name. "Oh, I just placed my order like 30 minutes ago," she says to me. I've dealt with people like this before, so I just regurgitate, "Oh, that's okay. Can you just park somewhere else while we prepare your order? These spots have a 10-minute parking limit. We'll send you a text message when it's ready and you can come back around." Now, the thing with these curbside spots that we have in front of our restaurant is they are literally in front of the restaurant. So we have a continuous stream of cars that park there and get their orders, as well as mall traffic that goes right alongside it, basically creating some sort of a choke point. I've parked here for longer before, and no one has ever said anything. At this point in the day, I wasn't going to deal with it just because it was too early. So I just said, it's just something that we're trying to enforce because we get a lot of traffic through here and it's going to make things run more smoothly. She said, okay, I'll move, don't worry, and then proceeded to just stare at her phone. She didn't move from that spot at all, so I just let it be. But I made that woman wait. Her order was actually probably ready like 12 minutes after she pulled in, but I made her wait 45 minutes. I attended to cars that pulled in behind her and cars that tried to go around her. And every time she asked for orders ready, I would just say, they're just waiting on one item. It'll be right out. But no, she stayed in that spot for 45 minutes. When I decided she had had enough, I ran her order out. I made sure it was reheated so that she didn't suspect anything. My coworkers loved the pettiness, and I still tell that story probably once a week. Pettiness is a pretty big thing in the restaurant business. I've never worked there, but I have a lot of friends that have. Be nice to your servers because they will make your day miserable if they get a chance. I know exactly where I'm getting out. A little over 20 years ago, I trained to be an over-the-road driver at a trucking school, and then got my first few jobs with various companies under a trainer. The long and the short of it is, I was not cut out to be a truck driver. My first trainer had a flat route, Jersey to Cali, and then back. Total time, 7 days. He made it abundantly clear that if I didn't get him back in 7 days, there'd be hell to pay. So after we got back, and I crashed in my room for 3 days from paranoia and no sleep, I got back out there with another company, whose trainer goosed his rig over 100 miles an hour. Most people know that there are governors on trucks that, at the time, won't let them go over 65 miles an hour. In gear. This genius decided with a 40,000-pound load to come rocketing out of the Denver Rockies at 65, shift the truck into neutral, and let gravity and Newton's laws speed the truck along. Okay, next company. The guy with the porn collection that filled my bunk and a habit of spitting chewing tobacco left and right and sideways was almost the deal breaker. When I was done with him, I decided to stay with the company but asked for a new trainer, waiting in a rinky-dink hotel on a $50 a day lien against my paycheck. After 2 weeks watching trucks go in and out, I see this wrecker dragging a truck and a trailer into the lot. It literally looked like someone had picked the truck up, flipped it upside down, and ran it over a mandolin slicer. The cab, the engine, the whole thing just looked plain down to an X-Acto knife's angle. But, I say to myself, I'll never be that dumb. To be clear, this was all before GPS, MapQuest, or Google Maps became popular. Back then, FMCSA rules stated that a driver could only ever work 10 hours a day. Trainers and trucking companies played with the numbers by figuring a truck could do 650 miles in that 10 hours. So, that's what you had to do before you got out of the seat. Never mind that you can almost never start at 65 miles an hour nor stay at 65 miles an hour without breaking some kind of law. You cook your logbooks by measuring your work time based on total miles traveled, then write the rest off as you eating, sleeping, or showering. So FMCSA DOT never wonder if you're being overworked. Essentially, your 10-hour day was usually 12 to 14 if you didn't break the law. Little wonder why regular coffee, Red Bull, and Monster energy drinks were regularly going in and out of truck stops. You know, the last 6 months of 2020, I worked as a FedEx ground driver, and it is exactly the same. Legally, you can't work more than 10 hours in one sitting. Oh my god, during Christmas, it was ridiculous. We were working no less than 12 hours a day. It's crazy. Basically, you log into your scanner, and you tell it that you're starting 2 hours or 3 hours later than you normally would. That way, you can get that extra time without it refusing to let you work the next day. That was how we got around it, and that's how we were told to do it by our managers. Is it legal? No. Did we get our work done? Yes. Enter the Line. The Line was also a no-nonsense trainer. He wasn't a bad guy so long as you were booking miles. But as I started going, I started feeling myself slow down. I just didn't have the heart to keep doing this. When I got tired from driving, I started to slip into sleep. The constant drone of the engine, the white lines on the road blinking in and out of sight. It happens, sadly. If it ever happens to you, don't brush it off. Pull over and get some sleep or get out of the vehicle to wake yourself up. Well, the Line didn't like that one bit. My last day with him, I'm somewhere near Chicago on a highway I don't remember getting on. that was pitch black save for my headlights. I know I was headed to Chicago, but not where I was or how I was supposed to get there. I managed to just barely pull the truck back onto the road after drifting over the hazard bumps on the road. Trust me, the road to hell isn't paved with good intentions, it's just paved. I stopped the truck, walked back to the sleeper, and woke him up. Me is me. TL is the line. Me. Listen, I'm exhausted. I can't even understand the map anymore. I don't know where we're going. I gotta get some sleep. TL. What? Look, just keep driving till you get to the stop, then sleep. Me. Dude, I'm passing out behind the wheel. I barely got us back onto the road once. Does it make sense to play with both of our lives for a load? TL. This is my truck. Me. So you have choices. Drive this truck, or grab your stuff and get out of here. And if this little thought enters your head again, just remember that wherever you stop next that isn't our drop is where you get out. For a moment, I was just going to rage at the guy, but I know I'll never get anywhere. But anger brings a wonderful clarity to the mind. So where I stop next is where I get out? Okay, boss. I grab the map book and zero in on my location. I check our delivery point and realize that I must have missed some turnoff because we were supposed to drop somewhere outside of Chicago, but I was still headed towards it. But Chicago had what I wanted, a Greyhound bus stop. So I drive 3 more hours, focused on ending this misery. We had a satellite uplink to our dispatcher, and I, being tech savvy and pissed enough, put on some of my music to cover up any beeps from it. Cause boy, I was off the route. I pull into the bus terminal right next to a parked patrol car, shut the truck down, and start grabbing my gear. The line wakes up as he hears me packing. TL. So we're there? Me. Nope. TL. What? I told you that if you stop this truck again outside of the stop, you were getting out. I grabbed the sleeper curtain and flung it wide open to show the bus terminal. Me. I found your terms acceptable. This is where I'm getting out. The line starts to get up with fury in his eyes, and though he was smaller than me, it's clear he wasn't letting size dictate anything. Neither was I as I flashed my logbook in his face. Me. It's going to be an interesting discussion with that officer there, how you've had me driving for the last 14 hours straight, even when I told you I was too tired. The line glares at me like he was trying to pummel me by thought alone. TL. You'll never work as a driver again. I promise you. I smile again, a mix of cheer, madness, and rage in my little laugh that makes even the line move back. I've since developed a laugh that can make Mark Hamill's Joker think twice in the right moment. Me. Again, something we wholeheartedly agree on. By the way, dispatch might want a word with you. I know where we are, not our drop point. I climb out of the truck, and he speeds off into the early morning. Turned out the cop car was empty, because the officer went inside to use the bathroom. But I borrowed some money from my mother, who was all too eager to help me get back to Jersey after what I told her. I slept for 4 hours on the terminal floor before my bus. Best day's sleep of my life. To be fair, I understand the industry is getting better. With more precise GPSing and smartphones that can keep drivers in touch no matter what, the days of drivers being worked till they crash is slowly coming to an end. But that's also why trucking's now paying $70,000 plus for a driver with 5 years and no accidents. There's very few that weren't trained to treat their rigs as bumper cars. I drove truck one last time as a wildcatter on call to deliver stuff to Delaware. Not a bad job, but I realized trucking just wasn't for me. I got into computing and haven't looked back since. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to come back throughout the week for more content. Please like and subscribe to help keep this channel going, and make sure you have a great week.